Entering the interview at a leading financial firm, she felt belittled by a panel who mocked her linen shirt and accused her of being a fraud. They dismissed her impressive resume, laughing, and declared, "You're no leader. Go fetch coffee." Despite the humiliation, Elena remained composed, concealing a secret that would dramatically alter their perception. Shortly thereafter, the CEO addressed her with deference, his voice wavering, "Madam Chairwoman." The Altera Group's headquarters dominated Manhattan's skyline, a glass monolith projecting power and prestige. Its lobby resembled a cathedral of wealth, featuring marble floors, gold-trimmed elevators, and a chandelier, comparable in size to a small car, scattering prisms across leather sofas. Altera was a financial titan managing trillion-dollar portfolios for governments, tech giants, and old money dynasties across Europe and beyond. The boardroom regularly welcomed Nobel laureates, and its executive suites saw a constant turnover of individuals from Ivy League institutions. The company fostered a demanding culture, where presentation held as much weight as skill, and an unsuitable suit could jeopardize a career. Altera's Instagram showcased its C-suite members wearing Armenian Rolexes, projecting a carefully constructed image of exclusivity. It was an environment where status served as protection, and those not belonging often faced rejection. Elena Royce entered the lobby, her white linen shirt crisp yet plain, her cream trousers tailored but understated, her flat shoes making no sound on the marble. At 39, she presented a striking image through her composure, with hazel eyes that conveyed both kindness and determination, dark hair styled in a low ponytail, and no cosmetics beyond a touch of lip balm. Her canvas tote held a notebook, a pen, and a well-worn copy of The Wealth of Nations. Elena possessed a legendary status in finance, holding a double MBA from Oxford and MIT. She had spent 15 years directing strategy for leading investment funds in Zurich, Singapore, and Boston, and had received personal endorsements from 3 global banking CEOs. A decade prior, she had designed Altera's recruitment system as a consultant, focusing on fairness and meritocracy, before transitioning to chair a private foundation. Today, Elena returned incognito to evaluate that system, presenting herself as an applicant for the position of Global Strategy Vice President. Her financial resources, connected to her husband's tech empire, were extensive but not readily apparent. She favored keeping it so. The receptionist, a young woman named Chloe with a neat bun and diamond earrings, observed Elena's attire and smiled faintly. Applicants for interviews utilized the side entrance, she stated, indicating a glass door. Elena acknowledged, her tote bag over her shoulder, and proceeded as directed, disregarding the hushed conversations from the suited executives in the vicinity. While Elena waited in the hallway prior to her interview, the other candidates, dressed in expensive suits and displaying a sense of superiority, gathered in a group around her, their murmurs cutting like barbs. Lila Tate, wearing a Gucci skirt, gestured toward Elena's tote and laughed, remarking, "Is that her briefcase or a grocery bag?" Jared Holt, considered the frontrunner, added to the mockery, tossing a crumpled dollar bill near her feet. "For your dry cleaning," he said with a sneer, eliciting laughter from the assembled group. A fellow applicant, Ethan Crane, identifiable by his Rolex, took a photograph and shared it within a group chat called Altera Wannabes. He captioned the image hat budget candidate. The sound of their amusement reverberated through the hallway as phones recorded Lila's chant. "No suit. No shot." Emily Voss, a junior HR staffer, observed from close proximity, offering no intervention. Elena's grip on her tote bag tightened, her hazel eyes reflecting suppressed distress, yet she maintained an upright posture, her composure a silent challenge to their unkindness. The video appeared on Instagram, quickly accumulating 10,000 views, and each comment felt like a personal affront. "Lost in turn?" one person wrote, followed by laughter. Or "the cleaning crew," another added, their amusement cutting. The side entrance opened onto a clinical hallway, where Elena joined a queue of applicants, primarily dressed in tailored suits and carrying leather briefcases. Jared Holt, a man in a pinstripe suit, looked down at her tote and remarked, "Hope you brought a better pitch than your wardrobe," his words intended to be heard and eliciting further laughter. Elena's hazel eyes shifted, but a faint smile touched her lips, her composure a quiet fortress. Within the interview room, a modern conference space featuring floor-to-ceiling windows, the panel was assembled. HR Director Michael Callahan, a man of substantial build in a $5,000 suit, Senior Manager Vanessa Klein, her red lipstick a sharp contrast against her tailored blazer, and Director of Operations David Rees, his cufflinks catching the light as he reviewed documents. Their gazes assessed Elena's appearance, their smiles restrained and calculated. Callahan reclined, a chuckle escaping him. "Are you the candidate? I assumed you were the coffee lady." Vanessa offered a smirk, commenting, "Is this your interview attire? Did nobody mention Altera has a standard?" The room's atmosphere grew heavy, their assessment a tangible presence. Elena spoke, her voice steady and deliberate. "Please review my resume, and let's begin the interview." Callahan scoffed, dismissing her file without opening it. "We'll get to that," he stated, his voice laced with disdain. The panel's inquiries seemed routine and intended to quickly end the discussion. While Elena tried to respond to Vanessa's shallow question regarding mergers, the panel seemed to intentionally undermine her. David Rees activated a projector showing a slide labeled Candidate Attire Standards featuring a photograph of a woman in a linen shirt closely resembling Elena's, marked with a red X. He stated with a smirk, and as the room chuckled, "This is you." Callahan then cut her off, demanding, "Speak louder. It's hard to focus with that outfit." Vanessa dropped a second test, 5 pages of conflicting financial models while still mentioning, "Oh, and this one's due in 3 minutes." The panel chuckled, their pens tapping, as Jared glanced in, winking at Callahan. The sabotage was obvious, a display intended to unsettle her. Elena's pen hesitated, her hazel eyes focusing, but she kept writing, her demeanor steady. A screenshot of the slide appeared, shared on the Altera Elite Slack with the caption, "Shash, dressed to fail." Each share felt like a public humiliation of her. "Describe your experience with high-stakes mergers," Vanessa inquired, her pen tapping with impatience. Elena started explaining her involvement in a $50 billion deal in Singapore, but David interrupted her. "That's sufficient," he stated, a smirk playing on his face. "It seems like assistant-level work." The panel looked at each other, their enjoyment evident. Then Callahan placed a 10-page financial analysis test onto the table. 5 minutes, he stated. "Let's see if you're worth our time." The test was exceptionally difficult, filled with complex equations, inconsistent data, and designed to be failed. Elena reviewed it, her hazel eyes focusing, but she wrote consistently, her pen moving with accuracy. When the time ended, Vanessa took the papers, giving them only a brief look. "You don't align with our leadership culture," she stated, her voice resolute. The reasons given were incorrect attire, a lack of presence, and a poor test performance. Before Elena could reply, Jared Holt, the candidate waiting outside, entered, his pinstripe suit sharply visible. He had been previously chosen. His interview was a mere formality following a $200,000 donation to Callahan's private fund. Jared gave Vanessa a wink, and she returned the gesture, moving his file to the top. "Now this is leadership material," she announced, making certain Elena heard. The panel chuckled. Callahan patted Jared's shoulder. "You're our guy," he stated, disregarding Elena's presence. The room's established order was evident. Wealth and appearances held more value than qualifications. Elena rose, holding her tote, and inclined her head, her voice calm but resolute. "I am unaware of any candidate so remarkable that the panel would dismiss all established criteria, encompassing experience and ethics. However, if a financial offering is sufficient to influence a decision, then today's assessment is superfluous." A palpable silence fell. Callahan's face flushed, his hand striking the table as he rose. "Are you suggesting we solicit bribes?" he demanded. "Do you have any understanding of who you're addressing? This is a leading financial conglomerate, not a venue for unfounded claims." Vanessa's slight smile disappeared, and her pen fell from her hand. David moved closer, his tone sharp. "You display a remarkable lack of respect, madam. It's no surprise you present yourself so plainly." The other candidates in the hallway, looking through the glass, murmured, "She's finished." Elena remained unmoved. She met Callahan's gaze, her voice calm and measured. I know precisely who I am addressing, she stated. And with equal clarity, who is not worthy of a place at this table. A profound silence filled the room, unsettling the panel, their eyes shifting with unease. As Elena's words lingered, Vanessa turned to David, her whisper carrying through the space. She is likely a dissatisfied employee seeking legal action, she remarked with a smirk. Observe her closely. It seems likely she created her resume at a public library. The interview panel reacted with laughter, their voices cutting, as Jared joined in, offering a playful salute to Elena. Better luck at the temp agency, he remarked, high-fiving David. Candidates in the hallway quietly chuckled, recording the interaction on their phones for a private Slack channel named All Terra Elites. The video circulated rapidly, accompanied by captions like, "Our coffee lady crashes." Comments followed, including dismissive remarks like, "What a loser! Fire her already." Elena's fingers gripped her tote, her hazel eyes unwavering. However, the shame felt palpable, enveloping her like smoke. She remained silent, her dignity serving as a defense against their harshness. The panel's derision intensified. One man, still visibly angered, snatched Elena's test and ripped it in half, throwing the fragments onto the table. "This is our assessment of your abilities," he declared, his voice resonant. "You are consuming our time." Vanessa rose, the sound of her heels sharp, and indicated Elena's tote. "Check that bag before she leaves," she instructed a security guard stationed by the door. She added, "I wouldn't be surprised if she's got company pens in there." The guard, a stocky man named Victor, smirked and approached, his radio emitting static. "Open it, ma'am," he said, his tone suggesting suspicion. Elena calmly unzipped her tote, displaying only her notebook and book. But the guard shook his head, murmuring, "Shady." The panel chuckled, with Jared taking a photo. The flash illuminated Elena's face. An image appeared on Twitter, labeled as an all-terror rejection, and quickly gained 5,000 retweets. Elena's jaw clenched, but she secured her tote, maintaining her composure. Beyond the glass walls, the other candidates created a barrier, their murmured comments forming a wave of disapproval. "No wonder she's struggling," one remarked, a woman in a Gucci skirt named Lila Tate. Another, a man wearing a Tom Ford suit, added, "I'll wager she's never been in a boardroom." The sound of their laughter resonated, phones recording as Elena passed by, her apartment quiet. Lila created a TikTok, adding her commentary over the video. "This is why Altera's elite. We don't allow just anyone in." The video quickly reached 50,000 views, each share feeling like a public embarrassment. As Elena approached the elevator, a junior HR staffer, Emily Voss, smiled, saying, "Wrong floor, hun." Janitors used the service lift. A sudden burst of laughter filled the hallway, the candidate's amusement sharp and jarring, but Elena remained composed, pressing the button as her hazel eyes focused on the doors, her demeanor concealing a fierce determination. The elevator hadn't finished closing when the panel delivered their final critique. Callahan arrived in the hallway, clutching Elena's untouched resume, and declared, "Don't expect to return, you're blacklisted." He ripped the file, scattering the pages across the floor before the candidates. Vanessa followed, her tone laced with animosity. "Take your little book with you," she said, nudging Elena's copy of The Wealth of Nations towards her. The candidates responded with cheers, Jared shouting, "Back to the library." The security guard laughed quietly, his radio static as he murmured, "Thought she'd cause trouble." The video of the resumes shredding quickly spread online, with the hashtag Altera Elites trending in all comments. The general sentiment was, "She deserved it. No class, no chance, a fresh wound." Elena grasped her book, the weight of betrayal in her tote, and entered the elevator, holding her head high. Shortly after, the boardroom doors opened, and Gideon Price, the CEO, walked in. At 50 years old, he was a renowned figure, possessing a strong jawline, silver-flecked hair, and blue eyes that commanded attention. Gideon had transformed Altera into a worldwide leader, his reputation for impartiality as respected as his intelligence. Without looking at the panel, he walked purposefully toward Elena, who had been brought back by his assistant, Lucas, a young man in a navy suit. The atmosphere in the room changed, and the panel's expressions softened. Gideon halted before Elena, his voice a low and steady tone. "Madam Chairwoman," he said, inclining his head slightly, "I apologize for the delay." The room felt heavy, and the panel's complexions paled. Elena released her coat, exposing a gold-plated badge affixed to her shirt, identifying her as chairwoman of the board, Elena Royce. She addressed the panel, her hazel eyes displaying a controlled coolness. "I did not come here seeking employment," she stated, her voice clear and resonant. She hesitated, her eyes meeting those of Callahan, then Vanessa, then Jared. "And the conclusion is negative." Following Gideon's words, "Madam Chairwoman," the panel's confidence dissolved into fear. Callahan's face turned pale, his $5,000 suit offering no protection as he stammered, "Chairwoman? This is a mistake." Vanessa's heels shook, her red lipstick a striking contrast to her pallor as she gripped the table, murmuring, "No one told us." David's cufflinks made a clicking sound as his hands trembled, his projector slide still displaying the taunting image of Elena's outfit. Elena retrieved a tablet from her tote and presented a live feed of the Altera Elite's Slack, revealing their captions, "Hat Coffee Lady crashes dressed to fail," to the assembled group. "You fostered a culture of corruption," she stated, her voice composed yet forceful, her hazel eyes focused intently on each panelist. The candidates in the hallway reacted with surprise, dropping their phones as Lucas displayed Elena's identification on the wall, prominently showing her title, Chairwoman of the Board. Gideon's blue eyes darkened, his voice a growl. "You're done," he told the panel, their careers vanishing before them. The room's silence served as a verdict, their fear a palpable force as Elena's power altered their world. Gasps spread through the room, the candidates in the hallway stopping, their phones lowering. Callahan's mouth opened but no words came. Vanessa's heels wobbled, her red lipstick a striking contrast against her complexion. Jared's pinstripe suit seemed to contract, his confidence gone. Elena advanced, placing her tote on the table, her voice unwavering. 10 years ago, I established Altera's hiring process to emphasize merit, skills, ethics, and vision, she stated. Today, you have demonstrated that it has become a venue for corruption and prejudice. She retrieved a folder from her tote, passing it to Gideon. This contains proof of payments to guarantee positions, encompassing Mr. Holtz. The folder specified Jared's $200,000 contribution, bank transfers linked to Callahan's account, and emails from Vanessa assuring Jared the position. A wave of shock rippled through the panel. Their hands shook. Gideon's expression grew severe, his voice firm. He announced, "Effective immediately, Mr. Callahan, Ms. Klein, Mr. Reese, and Mr. Holt are suspended pending investigation." The security guard, Victor, visibly lost color, his radio unresponsive as Lucas led him away. The consequences were substantial. By noon, Altera's board initiated a comprehensive inquiry, revealing a system of compensated roles and discriminatory behaviors. Callahan's fund was frozen, his $5,000 suit offering no protection as he confronted fraud charges. Vanessa's LinkedIn profile was overwhelmed with bribe queen comments, and her consulting engagements were canceled. Jared's finance career suffered a devastating blow, his pinstripe suit becoming a relic as firms placed him on a blacklist. The investigation uncovered that Lila Tate and Emily Voss had disclosed internal memos that ridiculed unsuitable candidates, resulting in their terminations and the suspension of their social media accounts for hate speech. Elena's inquiry went beyond suspending the panel. It removed individuals involved in wrongdoing from Altera's boardroom. She called for an urgent board meeting, appearing with a linen shirt illuminated by the chandeliers, and presented a file detailing 20 managers connected to the bribery scheme, their names displayed on a screen. The board, previously unconcerned with reputation concerns, remained motionless, their professional attire providing no protection as Elena's voice resonated. "You facilitated a process that traded trust for money." Sarah Holt, Callahan's deputy and the individual who had approved Jared's deal, visibly lost color as security personnel led her away. A palpable change in the room's atmosphere occurred, with directors visibly shaken as Elena implemented the Royce standard, requiring ethics audits for every new hire. The Financial Times broadcast her speech live, her tote bag visible on the podium as she stated, "Altera will lead by merit or it will not lead at all." Online platforms celebrated her, with the hashtag BoardroomBestrending gaining traction, each message acknowledging her bold leadership. The LinkedIn profiles of the removed managers disappeared, their apprehension regarding Elena's determination leaving a lasting impression. The Street Journal published a front-page article detailing the Altera scandal, highlighting bribery and bias within the financial giant. Social media exploded, with at Altera becoming a global trending topic, users posting commentary. They ridiculed her shirt, now they are without employment. The hallway candidates, previously Elena's detractors, confronted a public accounting as Lucas broadcast the interview recordings to Altera's internal network. Lila Tate's Gucci skirt appeared to droop as a TikTok video making fun of Elena appeared, her face flushed as colleagues murmured, "That's her." Jared's dollar toss played again, his pinstripe suit offering no protection. As gasps echoed in the hallway, his Altera-inspired group chat, with 200 members, was revealed, causing embarrassment. Ethan Crane's Rolex shone as he attempted to leave, but security prevented him, his photo post now labeled, "Nashtad Career Killer Online." Elena stood at the room's center, her tote on the table, and stated, "You judged me by my shirt, not my skills. Now the world sees your character." The footage appeared on LinkedIn, accumulating 5 million views, with comments such as, "They're finished. Elena's a queen." A cheer arose for her triumph. The candidates' careers suffered a collapse, their elitism becoming a public embarrassment, their fear of Elena's power serving as a lesson reflected in their downfall. The audience responded with enthusiasm on social media, with Royce rules trending as Elena's justice prevailed. Footage from a leaked interview, provided to a news outlet by Lucas, reached 30 million views. The video depicted Callahan ripping Elena's test, Vanessa's request for a bag check, and Jared's taunts, contrasted with Elena's composure and Gideon's bull. The phrase "Madam Chairwoman" became a recurring theme on TikTok, with each mention celebrated as a sign of Elena's victory. Videos of the candidates, including Lila's TikTok and Jared's photo, were transformed into memes bearing the caption "Elite Losers." Altera's Instagram, previously a platform displaying authority, was overwhelmed with comments expressing disapproval, such as "Shame on you," seeking justice for Elena. The board's apology, released at 6 a.m., was overshadowed by online criticism, and the company's reputation became a warning example. Elena went beyond suspensions. 1 week later, she appeared at a press conference wearing a plain navy blazer, with a tote bag on the podium, to announce Altera's revised recruitment policy. She stated, with unwavering hazel eyes, that all applications would be submitted anonymously, without names, photos, or personal branding. Only skills would be considered. A wave of applause and flashing cameras filled the space. The new policy, known as the Royce Standard, prohibited evaluations based on appearance, requiring anonymous reviews for all positions. Forbes described it as a seismic shift in executive recruitment, and organizations such as Goldman Sachs and UBS implemented comparable procedures. Elena's Royce Standard created a significant impact far beyond Altera, compelling international companies to confront their own biases. During a Davos panel discussion, Elena, with her tote by her side, urged CEOs to implement blind hiring, her hazel eyes focusing intently on a visibly unsettled bank executive who had previously criticized her consulting work. The room fell silent, his apology was subsequently tweeted, and Elena effect became a trending topic as 50 firms committed to reforms. Following the panel at Altera, the desks were cleared, Callahan's awards were discarded, Vanessa's designer pens were taken, and Jared's framed MBA was placed in a bin. Colleagues observed with astonishment as Elena passed, her flats making no sound, her voice composed. This exemplified accountability. The Economist highlighted her with the cover story, "The Chairwoman's Revolution," her linen shirt becoming symbolic. The individual responsible exhibited clear apprehension, their names removed from finance records, their workspaces deserted as Elena's policies transformed the industry. Online platforms expressed approval, with users commenting, "She straightened the executive out." Elena's influence, understated yet profound, left those responsible feeling shaken. Elena's impact extended beyond Altera. Her foundation initiated a worldwide program, providing financial training to 10,000 women, equipping them to address bias, with workshops featuring accounts of discrimination. She meticulously managed every aspect, her notebook documenting numerous ideas, and her tote bag a familiar sight at seminars. Her husband, Nathan Royce, a tech billionaire who established a cybersecurity enterprise, offered his support discreetly. His Gulfstream was stationed at Teterboro, yet it was Elena's vision that fueled change. The boardroom where she'd been mocked became the Royce Conference Center, honoring her legacy. Correspondence arrived from candidates globally, expressing how the Royce standard instilled hope. Elena read each letter, her hazel eyes reflecting determination. Altera didn't fully regain its former vibrancy. Its stock price stabilized, but the company's culture transformed, the Royce standard eliminating elitism. Altera's Instagram now highlighted a varied workforce, its chandeliers softened by Elena's influence. Callahan and Vanessa receded from public view, their bribes becoming a minor detail. Jared's LinkedIn profile remained inactive, his confidence concealed. Lila and Emily sought employment in retail, their TikTok videos removed. The public observed Elena's ascent, her white shirt symbolizing strength. She refrained from boasting, instead establishing a more equitable system, utilizing composure rather than animosity. Elena and Nathan enjoyed evenings in their Brooklyn brownstone, where the garden echoed with their daughter's laughter. She wore a linen shirt, he wore jeans, no tie. They discussed strategy over coffee, her tote on the counter holding a new photo. Elena at the policy launch, her smile radiant. Their wealth was immense, but their mission was greater, rooted in a shared belief in fairness. The world knew Elena now, not as a billionaire's wife, but as a force who turned scorn into systemic change. Elena Royce didn't need a title, she was the standard. If the story moved you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more. She endured a deeply embarrassing ordeal. During her wedding, each step she took down the Montclair Castle aisle felt oppressive, as if crushed under the weight of mocking stares. "Wait, that's the bride," someone derisively commented. They thought she was a member of the staff who was lost. Her dress was simple silk, lacking any embellishments, no shimmer, no train, no designer lace. She proceeded alone, without bridesmaids or family. And beneath the sound of clinking wine glasses arose whispers, cutting like knives. Was she deserted? She isn't suitable to be a billionaire's wife. Perhaps he reconsidered. A marriage arranged for compensation? Then the helicopter arrived. The individual everyone believed would be absent emerged. And in his hand he carried her father's. Montclair Castle stood as a stronghold of luxury. Its aged stones were situated on the cliffs of southern France, where lavender fields bordered the Mediterranean's sapphire glow. This was not simply a wedding location, it served as a prestigious platform for the world's elite. Global financiers, royalty, tech titans, and dynastic heirs were in attendance. These very halls had previously hosted the engagement of Monaco's princess, their chandeliers reflecting a rich history. No press entered through its iron gates, no paparazzi climbed its walls, and no social media presence marred the event. Invitations were meticulously hand-etched on vellum, each name representing a key to power. Rothschild, Windsor, and Musk were present, crystal flutes clinked, diamonds sparkled, and each guest possessed a significant level of influence. The air was fragrant with rosewater and ambition, and the castle's gardens showcased a display of immense wealth. Away from the exclusive area, a retired schoolteacher observed on a private live stream, his delicate hands shaking, his eyes focused on his daughter's singular poise. Iris Lane entered the castle's magnificent hall, her unassuming silk dress moving gently, crafted by a friend from a Kenyan nonprofit. It featured no crystals, no striking designs, only understated sophistication. Her chestnut hair cascaded loosely, accented by a simple veil, and her hazel eyes held a composure that appeared to quiet the room. At 27, Iris possessed a striking beauty, unpolished by the trappings of high society, and evident in the natural grace of someone who had educated children beneath acacia trees and handled aid contracts in Nairobi's dusty offices. Growing up in a modest New York apartment, She had experienced the loss of her mother to leukemia at 12. Her father, currently struggling with late-stage cancer, was too unwell to journey, his hospital bed a distant reality. She had once envisioned attending Oxford, but instead opted for a career with a nonprofit, her spirit molded by a dedication to service, rather than a pursuit of prestige. She walked alone now, the sound of her used shoes soft on the marble floor, her unassuming appearance a striking contrast to the surrounding opulence of Versace and Dior. The assembled guests shifted as Iris entered, their gazes sharp and critical. Celeste Dupont, a French banking heiress wearing a $50,000 Dior gown, moved closer, her voice laced with scorn. Who permitted the kitchen staff to approach the aisle? She whispered, her words easily picked up by the private live stream. A wave of laughter spread amongst the crowd, diamonds sparkling, as phones were used to quietly record Iris's simple dress. Victor Langston, a tech mogul known for his $10,000 watch, smiled from his seat. She's the bride? I thought she was delivering the cake, he remarked, eliciting laughter from his group. Iris gently touched her veil, maintaining a calm expression, yet the atmosphere was charged with derision. Her father's face on the live stream grew strained, the insults a blow to his pride, and the viewers felt a surge of anger, poised to erupt. As Iris walked down the aisle, the elite's disdain evolved into a planned attack. A flurry of irises and $30,000 gowns created a barrier, their voices a harsh, biting sound. Look at her, assuming she deserves this castle, one remarked, flinging a silk napkin toward Iris's feet. Back to the charity event, darling, another exclaimed, brandishing a phone adorned with diamonds. She's a bride from a thrift store. I bet she's never even witnessed a real wedding. Phones illuminated, their personal messages cruel, referencing Iris as a Montclair outsider, focusing on her pre-owned shoes. A hedge fund tycoon exclaimed, she's dragging this event into the gutter. The crowd's laughter felt like a public execution, with each word a lash against Iris's silence. Her father's face on the live stream showed pain, each taunt a blow to his daughter's dignity. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts pounding, furious at this mob's relentless cruelty. Amelia Westwood, Julian's cousin and a reluctant bridesmaid in a $20,000 Chanel dress, approached, her smirk sharp as a blade. You have no support, she stated, her voice quiet but sharp, intended for Iris's ears only. But perhaps you could make an effort to appear more refined? A Prince of Monaco is seated in the front row. Her companions chuckled, their pearls reflecting the chandelier's glow, their murmured comments a harmful current. A beneficiary, without lineage. Iris straightened, her hazel eyes meeting Amelia's, resolute but with a tremor in her neck. The guests' laughter rose, their disdain a display of shame. Her father's hands trembled on the live stream, tears reflecting the light, but he focused on his daughter's strength. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts aching for her as her reputation was challenged. Amelia's criticisms became more pointed, her voice rising to make sure the live stream captured each phrase. You're a blemish on the Westwood legacy, she declared, her Chanel dress sparkling under the chandeliers. That gown, that veil, did you obtain them from a second-hand store? You'll never be accepted here. The sound of her heels echoed, their laughter a harsh chorus, as phones focused on Iris's simple silk dress. You're a nobody benefiting from Julian's reputation, Amelia stated, her smile sharp and pointed. He deserves a queen, not someone of lesser means. Iris's fingers pressed tighter on her veil, her hazel eyes revealing a hidden strength, though her expression remained calm. Her father's hands shook as he watched the live stream, the personal insult wounding his daughter's sense of value. The audience's anger intensified, their feelings of sadness for Iris growing as they reacted to this calculated attack on her identity and love. The murmurings of the crowd became louder, their sense of privilege creating a protective barrier around Iris. A wife of a Russian oligarch, wearing a $30,000 Givenchy gown, turned to her husband. She commented about Iris's mother's absence, questioning if it was due to a lack of a ticket or funds. Her voice was audible on the live stream. Her friends chuckled, their jewelry sparkling, with one remarking, "It must be a charity wedding. He is engaged in humanitarian efforts," facilitated by marriage. Devices emitted light, subtly recording Iris's plain veil, with accompanying messages appearing in personal conversations, a misjudgment in Hat Montclair. Oliver Crane, the son of a British lord, commented, "She appears to have stepped out of a soup kitchen." Amusement reverberated within the castle's stone walls, each word feeling like a stone thrown at Iris's heart. She straightened her veil, maintaining a steady smile, her silence acting as a defense against their malice. A wave of anger surged through the audience, their outrage at this planned cruelty a palpable force. The castle's employees, accustomed to remaining unseen, participated in the taunting with quiet remarks. A waiter, offering champagne, halted near Iris, speaking softly but clearly. "Miss, the staff entrance is over there," he stated, indicating a side door, his smile reflected in the expressions of other attendees. "We don't generally permit guests to stand at the altar," he continued, prompting laughter from the privileged. Cameras recorded Iris's serene expression, their intimate messages circulating. Wedding fraud, the audience's applause felt like a crushing wave, their self-importance a visible condemnation. Iris straightened her veil, her hazel eyes steady, but her father's live stream showed his face marked with distress, revealing the staff's involvement in a new act of deception. The viewers' anger reached its highest point, their pulses racing at this systemic injustice, their resentment poised to erupt. Upon Iris's arrival at the altar, the groom's absence felt like a new blow. Julian Westwood, the founder of Westwood Intelligence, who controls 40% of the global AI market, was missing. There was no music and no quartet played. The officiant, a silver-haired dignitary in a tailored suit, remained silent, his eyes moving uneasily. The guests looked at each other, their murmurs increasing. Had he abandoned her? A Dutch heiress murmured, her $15,000 earrings shifting. Whispers circulated about him still seeing that Italian model. One person commented, their voice picked up by the live stream's concealed microphones. Perhaps this entire situation was a publicity maneuver, someone suggested. Marry then vanish. Iris remained solitary, her simple dress sharply contrasting with the vacant spot next to her, her hazel eyes focused on the distant view. Her father's expression on the live stream faltered, the rejection a painful blow, and the audience's anger intensified, hoping for this public humiliation to cease. The live stream transformed into a space of harsh judgment, intensifying the elite's disdain for a worldwide audience. Phones illuminated, guests sharing messages in private chats, their comments a public condemnation. Nana Mebride, one read, focusing on Iris's simple veil. "She's a fraud," another posted, disseminated by a royal's cousin. A guest exclaimed, "Bet she paid to wear that gown," which triggered a surge of laughter that resonated throughout the hall. The live stream's hidden comments overflowed with messages like, "Cancel the wedding," and "Imposter." A woman wearing an Oscar de la Renta gown valued at $40,000 loudly protested. Her actions were seen as disrespectful to the castle. Calls for intervention arose. Iris's hands remained composed, her hazel eyes focused on the altar, while her father's expression on the live stream revealed intense distress, each online comment a source of pain for his daughter. The audience's outrage grew, their feelings sympathetic to Iris, hoping for this widespread embarrassment to cease. The castle's employees, accustomed to remaining unseen, subtly participated in the derision. As a waiter passed, offering champagne, he stopped near Iris, speaking softly but clearly. "Miss, the staff entrance is over there," he stated, indicating a side door, his expression echoed by those around him. "We typically don't allow guests to stand at the altar," he added, prompting amusement from the assembled elite. Numerous phones recorded Iris's composed face, their personal messages flying with speculation. Wedding fraud. The collective acceptance felt overwhelming, their sense of superiority a public display of judgment. Iris adjusted her veil, her hazel eyes unwavering, but her father's live stream feed showed his face etched with pain, revealing the staff's complicity in a fresh betrayal. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts pounding at this institutional cruelty, their outrage a fire ready to explode. The whispers grew into a crescendo, the guests scorn a global spectacle via the private live stream. A German tech heiress posted about no-name bride, zooming in on Iris's plain gown. A guest texted, describing her as a nobody, a message shared by a royal's cousin. The wife of a French diplomat exclaimed, "Bet she forged her invitation." This sparked laughter that resonated throughout the hall. The live stream's hidden comments became a torrent. "Cancel the wedding." One read, "Fraud." Another woman, wearing a $25,000 Valentino dress, declared, "She's humiliating the Westwood name." Someone urgently called for an intervention. Iris's hands remained steady, her hazel eyes focused on the altar, but her father's face on the live stream displayed profound distress, each digital interaction feeling like a painful setback for his daughter. The audience's displeasure surged, their emotions with Iris, yearning for this staged cruelty to cease. The quiet lingered, the altar vacant, the guests' presence a constant barrage. Then, a faint hum filled the air, rotating blades cutting through the sky. A helicopter landed on Montclair's back lawn, its black frame gleaming, its roar silencing the whispers. The doors opened and Julian Westwood stepped out, his tailored jacket dusted with snow, his tie undone, a leather case in hand. But the man beside him caused a stir, Iris's father, frail, his hospital gown replaced with a simple suit, his eyes bright with pride. Julian had flown to New York, engaged an international medical team, and arranged the flight to bring him here. A hush fell over the audience, their phones shaking, as the live stream exploded with activity. A collective gasp arose. Was that her father? Iris's hazel eyes grew wide, her breath paused, her composure faltering for the first time. The audience's spirits lifted, their frustration transforming into wonder, the reality a revelation. Julian didn't approach the VIP carpet. He sprinted, visibly running, across the lawn, his shoes disappearing into the grass, his blue eyes fixed on Iris. He arrived at the altar, out of breath, and clasped her hand, his voice strained. "Please accept my apologies for the delay, but I pledged I would always ensure you weren't left unsupported." He addressed the attendees, his expression intense. "This day marks not my wedding, but a ceremony celebrating the individual who enabled me to feel deserving of love." He indicated the officiant, and then exited the dressing room. After 5 minutes, he reappeared wearing a plain white tuxedo, devoid of cufflinks and any unnecessary embellishment. The assembly made way for him, their disapproval diminishing to a distant murmur, their mobile devices momentarily disregarded. Iris's father sat in the front row, wiping away quiet tears, his presence affirming Julian's commitment. The livestream comments flooded in, reading, "This is unreal. Hatch Iris and Julian." The wedding commenced, the atmosphere in the castle's electric with sincerity. As Julian positioned himself beside Iris, he addressed the assembled guests, his voice powerful enough to quiet any remaining murmurs. "You ridiculed my wife, believing her to be inadequate alone," he declared, his blue eyes intensely focused. "Iris Lane remains the core of this castle, and you will be held accountable for your actions." He presented a tablet, showing canceled agreements, suspended accounts, and terminated collaborations. "Each of you who mocked me, your names are removed from my network," he stated, his eyes fixed on Amelia. "You, cousin, are excluded from the Westwood Empire completely." The assembly reacted with shock, their jewels losing their brilliance, their standing diminishing. Celeste DuPont's banking arrangements collapsed, Victor Langston's technology corporation weakened, and the livestream became viral. Justice prevailed, Ren influence solidified, and Iris remained composed, her simple dress appearing regal, her victory confirmed by Julian's fury. The viewers applauded, their spirits lifted as his power diminished the arrogance of the influential. Iris's history remained unknown, whether to the attendees, not Amelia, or the livestream audience. At 20, she demonstrated exceptional linguistic ability, achieving fluency in 5 languages, and her work with nonprofits in Kenya connected assistance to isolated villages. She instructed children in schools constructed of mud, her earnings just enough to cover rent, her emotional development influenced by her mother's passing and her father's bravery. She encountered Julian at a Nairobi conference. Her translation of a refugee's account inspired him to financially support her organization. Their affection developed discreetly, away from public attention, based on common principles, rather than material possessions. She now stood at Montclair, her simple gown a statement against the elite's perceived disdain, her heart filled with a fierce determination to expose their falsehoods. The wedding ceremony was understated. There was no orchestra, no elaborate floral decorations, only Iris and Julian at the altar, their hands joined. The officiant spoke with a calm voice, his words a solemn promise of commitment, honor, and enduring love. Iris's father stood, visibly weakened but steadfast, and took her hand, leading her to Julian. The guests stood, the memory of their previous harshness a burden they carried, their quietness a strained politeness. Julian's gaze remained fixed on Iris, his self-esteem a suppressed intensity. The live stream recorded their promises, with comments appearing rapidly. "She's a queen, a Montclair miracle." The castle's order changed, its entrances opening further, its essence redefined by a woman who had faced rejection and now seemed beyond reproach. Julian moved ahead, needing no amplification, his voice sharp and clear. "I heard every word that was said, and I am aware of who spoke." He turned to Amelia, his cousin, his expression chilling. "You invoked the Westwood name to disparage my wife? You are hereby removed from every family trust established under my name." Her Chanel dress appeared to droop, her smirk vanished, her standing diminished. He addressed the guests, his blue eyes fierce. "Those of you who questioned her worth, who referred to her as the bride with no name, you are no longer included in any of my future deals. Ever." A hush fell over the assembly, their jewels losing their luster, their power wavering. Celeste Dupont's glass broke upon the marble floor, Victor Langston's timepiece ceased functioning, Oliver Crane's distinction proved insignificant. The live stream rapidly gained global prominence, with Iris Lane dominating social media, her lone walk becoming a celebrated event. The elite's decline was instantaneous, their pride collapsing under Julian's direction. Amelia's complexion paled, her financial resources cut off, her influence dispersing as their humiliation spread online. Celeste Dupont's banking empire encountered sanctions, her derision a public embarrassment. Victor Langston's tech agreements were terminated, his contempt a critical error. The Russian oligarch's wife departed, her Givenchy gown offering no protection from the rumors. She disrespected Westwood's bride. Oliver Crane's lordship was the subject of ridicule, his wagers a humiliation. The employees who had sneered were dismissed, their careers ended. The attendees who had laughed were denied access, their standing diminished. Iris stood beside Julian, her simple veil a quiet crown, her hazel eyes unwavering. The live stream recorded the outcome, comments appearing rapidly, they received what was due. Hail Iris resonated within the audience's hearts, their anger shifting into pride. Iris's victory and Julian's fury, a blaze that consumed the elite's injustice. The repercussions were immediate, a resolution brought without words. Amelia retreated into the castle's shadows, her trust fund depleted, her followers avoiding her. Celeste Dupont's banking empire underwent audits, her disdain a public mark. Victor Langston's tech deals failed, his derision a widely shared error. The Russian oligarch's wife departed, her Givenchy gown offering no protection from the rumors. She criticized Westwood's wife. Oliver Crane's lordship was ridiculed, his wagers a shame. The employees who had sneered were terminated, their identification removed, their careers ended. The attendees who had laughed dispersed, their invitations canceled, their power diminished. Iris stood beside Julian, her simple gown gleaming, her hazel eyes gentle yet firm. The audience's hearts pounded, their anger changing into pride. Iris's victory was a force that consumed the elite's harshness. Iris's father sat in the front row, his tears silent, his suit a gift from Julian. He rose again, took Iris's hand, and placed it in Julian's, his voice a whisper. "You've always been enough." The castle rose, no one daring to remain seated, not because of Julian's power, but because of Iris's eyes. Eyes that had witnessed loss, service, and love, and now radiated a strength that humbled the elite. Julian held her hand, their vows a promise of truth. No tiara adorned her, no $100,000 gown clothed her, but Montclair belonged to her, a monument to a woman who'd walked alone and made the world bow. She possessed no noble name, no dynasty behind her, no diamonds on her wrist. She possessed something unique compared to everyone else at Montclair, a man prepared to abandon everything simply to hold her hand. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more, and let us know in the comments, would you have stood alone like Iris did? The moment she exited her modest cabin at Frosthelm Peaks, Europe's most luxurious ski resort, she faced ridicule for her financial situation. Her worn puffer coat, used skis, and a homemade wool hat gave the impression of a misplaced equipment handler. "That's the billionaire's girlfriend?" Someone scoffed. "I thought she was carrying the ski boots." The details of her past as a national athlete were unknown. She had been disqualified from the Olympics following a fabricated doping scandal engineered by the father of the heiress now facing her. Elise Wren stood in the cold scrutiny of the elite, her hazel eyes unwavering, her silence sharp. Their intention was to disgrace her, to break her amidst the snow, but within 20 minutes she would create a lasting story in the Alps with a run so flawless it would destabilize their world, and her billionaire partner would undermine their fortunes. Who was this girl, and what fire would she unleash on these slopes? Frosthelm Peaks was a fortress of snow and splendor, its slopes glistening under the alpine sun like a sheet of polished crystal. Situated in the heart of the Alps, it served as the ultimate playground for billionaires, global celebrities, and European royalty, where a single-day pass cost more than a luxury car. Chalets with glass walls were situated on cliffs, their fireplaces providing a warm glow, as brands such as Chanel and Prada filmed their winter advertising campaigns on the perfectly groomed slopes. The atmosphere was crisp, filled with the aroma of pine and affluence, with each guest embodying significant influence. Gondolas operated above, transporting fur-draped heiresses whose attire cost more than their bespoke skis. Security neutralized paparazzi drones, yet a live broadcast shared the resort's every moment globally, showcasing the elite within their frozen domain. Just past the velvet ropes, Elise Wren's father, a retired ski instructor, observed on his phone, his aged hands trembling, his gaze fixed on his daughter's face. Elise emerged from a modest cabin, her white puffercoat wrinkled, her used skis marked but dependable. Her chestnut hair was tucked under a hand-knit wool hat, a few strands drifting in the wind, and her hazel eyes held a subtle intensity. At 26, she possessed a striking beauty, not the refined elegance of the privileged, but the natural allure of someone raised amidst Montana's untamed landscapes. Her father had initiated her in the art of skiing before she could even write her name, his voice calm and reassuring. He imparted the wisdom: the mountain doesn't care about your gear, it honors your heart. Elise had previously competed as a national-level skier, with her name once considered for the Olympics, before a fabricated doping scandal, orchestrated by a powerful man, dashed her aspirations. Now she stood beside Noah Marchand, her presence a spark in the frost, her simplicity a contrast to the resort's opulence. Noah, at 28, was a commanding figure in a tailored black ski jacket, his dark hair swept back, his green eyes sharp as emeralds. At just the youngest age on the Forbes Top 10 list, he had transformed Marchand Technologies into an empire valued at $180 billion, his name opening every door. He presented Elise as his girlfriend, his voice being warm yet firm, and his hand resting gently on her shoulder. The audience became still, their murmurs filled with negativity. A woman in a mink coat exclaimed, her voice audible on the live stream. "She appears as if she came from a thrift shop." Elise adjusted her hat, her expression calm, though the atmosphere was charged with disapproval. Noah's jaw clenched, but he remained quiet, relying on Elise's resilience. The privileged perceived a vulnerability, and they attacked swiftly. Natalia Van Cleve, a member of a prominent global banking family, stood close by, her platinum blonde hair reflecting the light from a $5,000 fur hat. Noah's former girlfriend and classmate, she had never forgiven him for his choice of Elise. She scrutinized Elise with a deliberate gaze, her smile sharp and pointed. "Noah, you brought your little sister?" she asked, her voice carrying to the grandstands. A wave of laughter, pointed and unkind, followed as phones began recording Elise's worn coat. Natalia and her group, dressed in expensive ski clothing, laughed, one of them throwing a snow-covered glove towards Elise's feet. "Pick it up, valet," she said. Elise carefully stepped over the glove, her hazel eyes meeting Natalia's gaze, her expression calm despite the quickening of her pulse. Natalia Van Cleve advanced, her $5,000 fur hat creating a shadow, and her voice sharp and cutting. "You're a disgrace to Noah's legacy," she declared, her words audible on the global live stream. "That coat, those skis, did you find them in a dumpster? You'll never belong here." The clicking of her heels resonated, accompanied by cruel laughter, as phones focused on Elise's wrinkled puffer. "You're a nobody," benefiting from his reputation, Natalia added, her smirk particularly pointed. "Noah warrants a queen, not a beggar." Elise's fingers pressed firmly on her skis, her hazel eyes reflecting a hidden determination, yet her expression stayed calm. Her father's hands shook on the live stream. The personal attack felt like a blow to his daughter's value. The audience's anger surged, their hearts aching for Elise, furious at Natalia's calculated attack on her identity and love. Her father's face on the live stream contorted, the insult feeling like a blow to his honor, and the viewers reacted with palpable anger. The grandstands hummed as Elise approached the lift, her knit hat visible amongst the crowd. Ethan Caldwell, a son of a tech entrepreneur, rested against a barrier, his $10,000 skis situated nearby. "Wait, isn't she Noah's girlfriend?" he scoffed, the sound audible on the live stream. "Sweet face, but she resembles a life-size IKEA doll." Laughter from his friends cut through the cold air. "Did she take the wrong exit?" one asked. Another, Lila Voss, a model, remarked, "I thought Noah only dated supermodels." It seems his preferred type has shifted to inspirational stories of a poor girl's struggles. The group erupted in noise, their phones illuminated as they composed captions. "Hat frost helm flop." Elise walked steadily, her face composed, her silence acting as protection from their criticism. As Elise neared the ski lift, the disdain of the wealthy escalated into a calculated display of aggression. A group of heiresses, dressed in ski suits costing $15,000, arranged themselves in a semicircle, their voices laced with scorn. "Look at her, feigning Noah's status," one remarked, flinging a snow-covered mitten towards Elise's feet. "Return to your cabin, pauper." Another brandished a phone adorned with diamonds, declaring, "She's a laughable bargain. I bet she's only ridden a sled." Mobile phones illuminated, displaying harsh livestream posts. A malfunction with a helmet visor, magnified through zoom, focused on her used skis. A technology magnate in a tailored parka exclaimed, "She's tarnishing Noah's reputation." The audience's amusement felt like a public condemnation, every comment a strike against Elise's quietness. Her father's expression on the live stream conveyed distress, each insult a blow to her dignity. The spectators' anger escalated, their pulses racing, angered by this group's unwavering brutality. The audience's anger intensified, their hearts aching for her dignity. A collection of skiers, their boots shining, assembled close to the lift, their hushed tones sharp as shards of ice. "She's a charity case," one remarked, the words audible on the live stream. "Noah's slumming it for PR," another added. A discarded lift pass was thrown towards her, accompanied by the words, "Clean that up, boot carrier." The paper slid across the snow, lightly touching her boots, but Elise remained still. Her father's hands trembled visibly on the live stream, tears reflecting the light, yet he remained focused. Noah's companions, a group of venture capitalists dressed in tailored outfits, spoke quietly amongst themselves, their voices audible. "Noah's lost it," one commented. "Bringing a newcomer to Frosthelm? She's damaging his reputation." The derisive laughter grew louder, each syllable feeling like a blow to Elise's heart. She straightened her posture, her hazel eyes flashing, but her smile remained unchanged. A Frosthelm lift operator, his branded jacket gleaming, joined in the teasing, his voice laced with condescension. "Miss, this isn't the rental shack," he said, loud enough for the crowd to hear. "Your gear's a safety hazard. Perhaps stick to the beginner's slope." He indicated her second-hand skis, his smirk reflected by nearby guests. We don't allow skiers with donated equipment on Death Curl, he added, prompting laughter from the elite. The phones illuminated, recording Elise's composed expression, with captions appearing as ski reject. The crowd's acceptance felt oppressive, their elitism a visible humiliation. Elise straightened her knit hat, her hazel eyes unwavering, but her father's live stream displayed his face collapsing, and the staff's involvement suggested a new betrayal. The audience's anger escalated, their fury at this institutional cruelty of fire threatening to explode, wanting Elise to retaliate. Natalia took advantage of the situation, her voice echoing across the slope. Elise, if you're truly here to ski, let's add some stakes, she said, her laugh sharp as the snow. One rundown Death Curl. The legendary slope, exclusively for professional athletes. If you win, I'll offer a sincere apology and donate $2 million to a charity of your choice. But if you lose, you'll remove your gloves, kneel in the snow, and tell the press, I'm not worthy of Noah Marchand. The crowd reacted sharply, their phones raised, anticipating Elise's potential embarrassment. Noah moved forward, his voice firm. Enough, Natalia, he said. Elise squeezed his hand, her expression calm. Let them wager, she replied quietly. But if I succeed, they depart this mountain and they refrain from mentioning me ever again. The resort's live stream transformed into a virtual battleground, broadcasting the elite's derision to millions. Comments appeared, guests posting in real time their captions of public shaming. Hat Frosthelm Freak, one read, focusing on Elise's hand-knit hat. Someone claimed she was a fraud, a post shared by a royal's niece. A guest shouted, bet she bribed her way in with Noah's money, sparking laughter that echoed across the slope. The livestream comments flooded with demands to ban her. Loser, a woman in a $12,000 ski suit called out, she's humiliating Noah. Someone stop this. Elise's hands remained steady, her hazel eyes fixed on the peak, but her father's face on the livestream was a study in agony, each digital jab a blow to his daughter's pride. The audience's anger was palpable, their hearts with Elise, longing for this global shaming to cease, their fury at its magnitude a burning pain. The arena exploded with derisive laughter, the elite's contempt a powerful surge. Death Curl was a formidable challenge, its name a caution to all but the most skilled. The crowd's taunts followed Elise to the lift, their phones recording her every movement. A Russian oligarch's daughter, wrapped in sable, shouted, she'll fail before the first turn. Laughter rippled through the group, their diamonds flashing in the light, with one person exclaiming, bet she's never seen a slope like this. The livestream commentary rapidly increased, with messages reading, she's done. Poor girl fail. Ethan Caldwell rose to his feet, his voice carrying across the area. Why is she even here? This is our mountain, not a welfare run. The onlookers responded with cheers, their sense of privilege forming a barrier around Elise. A ski instructor, having received payment from Natalia, subtly altered the slope's configuration, directing Elise's run toward a dangerous area of hidden ice and unprepared terrain. Elise examined her skis, her braids moving, her hazel eyes focused on the peak. The audience's anger simmered, their fury at this planned cruelty a palpable presence. Natalia's scheme was in place. As Noah was diverted by a phone call from his board, the handler altered Elise's route, guaranteeing she would encounter a perilous situation no inexperienced skier could navigate. Natalia perceived Elise as merely a pleasant girlfriend accompanying him, her borrowed equipment seeming to confirm her lack of expertise. She was unaware that Elise had previously been a national skier, her name permanently recorded in junior championship records. At 19, Elise had emerged as a rising star, her skiing characterized by grace and fluidity, until Natalia's father, who was then president of the Ski Federation, manufactured a doping scandal to facilitate the advancement of his daughters. The accusation destroyed Elise's Olympic aspirations, effectively ending her career through deceit. Now, she stood at the summit of Death Curl, her skis firmly planted, her heart ablaze, oblivious to the ice that lay beneath. Elise sped down the slope, her white coat aflash against the snow, her skis carving through the powder. The audience fell silent, their phones raised, anticipating a fall. Death Curl was a formidable challenge, steep and winding, with precipices that made experienced skiers hesitate. The initial concealed patch of ice appeared, a treacherous hazard intended to unbalance her. Elise detected the change, her body leaning low, her skis grazing the side. She executed a 360 twist, her braids swirling, completing the maneuver with a sharp eagle landing that seemed to break the laws of physics. The audience reacted with a collective intake of breath, their previous amusement silenced. Coaches from the training area below rose to their feet, their clipboards momentarily discarded, to applaud. Elise's speed was overwhelming, each movement demonstrating exceptional skill, her used skis a challenge to those who doubted her. The live-stream viewership surged. Who is she? This is unbelievable. The second obstacle appeared quickly, a rough section of unprepared ground with rocks partially hidden by snow. Elise moved with fluidity, her form a graceful line as she descended the slope. She navigated the hazard with ease, the sound of her skis filling the air, her hat remaining secure against the wind. The audience fell silent, their phones visibly vibrating as Elise launched off a ramp, executing a double-twist aerial and landing with a flawless technique that resonated through the mountain. The coaches cheered loudly, their applause joined by professional skiers who paused their runs to observe. Natalia's smile disappeared, her fur hat shifted, and her eyes widened in surprise. Ethan's jaw dropped, his confidence fading. The comments on the live stream exploded with praise. She's a goddess. Elise's father, observing from his phone, was overcome with emotion, a silent sense of pride as his daughter reasserted her identity. The final segment presented a formidable challenge, a constricted, inclining path featuring a sharp turn that had previously defeated skilled competitors. Elise moved, her skis a streak of motion, her form unified with the mountain. She approached the turn, her ski edge gripping the snow, her velocity obliterating the resort's previous record. The official sensors indicated her time, 1 minute and 47.2 seconds faster than any run in Frosthelm's history. She skidded to a stop, her breathing controlled, her hazel eyes scanning the spectators. The grandstands felt desolate, the elite's disdain seemed spectral, their phones ignored. Natalia remained motionless, her complexion wan, her influence diminishing. Media crews adjusted their cameras, documenting Elise's victory, as live-stream viewers erupted in online discussion. She dominated them. #Frosthelm Queen. From the base, Noah observed, a surge of pride filling him as his green eyes followed the woman who had just set a new standard for the mountain. As Elise came to a stop, the coach's applause rose to a resounding ovation, their respect washing away the skepticism of the established skiers. A seasoned Olympic trainer, his silver hair gleaming in the sunlight, approached. Elise Wren just skied like a world champion, he announced, his gaze fixed on Natalia. Her talent was obscured by deception, and today, she has rightfully recovered it. He addressed the crowd, his expression serious. Those who had ridiculed her ought to feel remorse. Natalia's complexion paled, her fur hat dropping onto the snow, her rein faltering in the face of Elise's victory. The live stream recorded her astonishment, with comments appearing rapidly. She's finished. #Elise Legend. The coaches raised their hands, confirming Elise's record as official, establishing her name as an enduring legacy on Frosthelm. Elise stood confidently, her knit hat a modest symbol of her triumph, her victory sharply diminishing Natalia's self-assurance. The audience erupted in cheers, their spirits lifting as Elise's skill silenced her detractors, her performance a symbol of fairness. Elise grasped the microphone, her voice strong and unwavering, piercing the quiet like a sliver of ice. I was removed from Olympic selection after your father invented a doping accusation against me, she stated, her hazel eyes fixed on Natalia, but I no longer desire gold medals. I simply needed to defeat you, to demonstrate that intelligence isn't dictated by your financial resources. A hush fell as the onlookers shifted, their previous harshness evident. Noah advanced, his hand gently touching hers, his voice firm and decisive. My family is withdrawing all investments from the Van Cleve Bank, he declared, his eyes gleaming intensely, and you are permanently prohibited from entering any resort managed by my corporate network. Natalia visibly faltered, her fur hat slipping, her family's power seemingly threatened. The repercussions were immediate. Ethan Caldwell walked slowly toward the lodge, his $10,000 skis unused, and his group avoiding his attention. Lila Voss attempted to dismiss the situation, but her modeling contract was already being reconsidered, her sponsors concerned by the reaction to the livestream. The Russian oligarch's daughter, who had wagered on Elise's fall, quietly left, her sable coat unable to block the rumors. She lost everything. The instructor responsible for manipulating the slope was dismissed immediately, his badge taken, and his career finished. The stands emptied, the elite resigned, their exclusivity shattered by the girl in the wrinkled coat. The Frosthelm crowd, once a wall of scorn, now stood in awe, phones down, and the former brutality was a bitter memory. A young skier who had been silent until then approached Elise, her voice trembling. "I was wrong to be silent," she said, her eyes shining. "You are what this resort should honor." The others joined her. The applause soared and the tide of respect drowned their past insults. The live stream documented the change, with comments rapidly appearing. "She transformed the mountain." #Elise serves as an inspiration. Ethan Caldwell's confidence crumbled, his $10,000 skis unused, his group dispersing as their embarrassment went viral. Lila Voss retreated, her modeling career suffering, her ridicule now a visible mark. The Russian oligarch's daughter remained isolated, her sable coat offering no protection from the murmurs. She wagered against a queen. Elise's talent burned brightly, fundamentally changing Frosthelm, her victory a lasting condemnation of those responsible. The audience's hearts pounded, their frustration evolving into pride, Elise's performance becoming a legendary tale that silenced her critics. Noah's companions, who had previously ridiculed Elise's abilities, dispersed, their investments wavering under Marchand's sway. The live stream gained worldwide popularity, Elise Ren dominating social media, her run establishing itself as a legend. Noah embraced Elise, speaking softly, his words intended solely for her. "You didn't need to prove anything," he said, his hand brushing her cheek. "You were always enough." Elise smiled, her hazel eyes softening, her knit hat a quiet crown. The resort's leaderboard was updated, her name now etched at the top. Elise Ren, death curl record, 1 minute and 47.2 seconds. Coaches approached, their respect palpable, one whispering, "You should have been at the Olympics." The live stream captured their embrace, comments appearing rapidly. "She's a queen," Noah and Elise. The mountain's structure changed, its entrances becoming more accessible, its essence transformed by a girl who'd skied past deception and ended it all with a flawless run. 2 days after Elise's run, a video of it became widespread online, with the caption, "Never judge a skier by her gear." The internet reacted strongly, her name becoming a symbol for those who are overlooked. Noah and Elise stood together, holding hands, their future representing a commitment to honesty. She faced ridicule and emerged a legend, not through victory, but through unwavering integrity. Frosthelm Peaks was no longer exclusive, it belonged to her, a testament to a young woman in a hand-knit hat who had inspired the Alps. Legendary skiing doesn't require expensive equipment, and genuine love isn't found in material possessions. It's found in staying true to what's important. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this. And tell us in the comments, what would you do if you were Elise?